Karnataka State Akmadevi Women's University, Vijaypura, Department of Library and Information Science, in association with the University Library, organized 5 days national webinar on research and publication ethics from 27th July to 31st July 2020. My guru, Professor Tadsad, and organizing secretaries Dr. Gavisi Dappa, Anandhalli, and Dr. Shanta Devi. Let me congratulate you for having organized a wonderful webinar on research ethics, which is need of the hour. The topic which I have been assigned with is predatory publishers and journals. Because this is the need of the hour, where we have to tackle about predatory journals. What is predatory journal? The characteristics of predatory journals. Then how these predatory journals are different than paid journals and open access journals, and many other concepts. Now, how to identify a predatory journal and predatory publishers. So I'm going to deal with all these things in my presentation. Now, as far as predatory journal is concerned, it's a catchy term used for predatory journal. It's a phrase coined by Jeffrey Beal, scholarly communications librarian at the University of Colorado at Denver. It refers to journals whose main purpose seems to be exploit. So exploit in the sense to make full use of the situation. I will just come to you later what exactly that we are facing the situation and we are passing by the situations in academic setup. So whose main purpose seems to be exploit scholars and academics and their need to publish the results of their research. What is predatory journal? A predatory journal is a publication that actively asks researchers for manuscripts. I'm just going to highlight a few more things in my next slides, what exactly they do, that is predatory journals, what is being carried out in predatory journals or by the predatory publishers, I can say in general. They have no peer review system. You believe it or not, there is no peer review system as far as these predatory journals are concerned, but they claim that they have a strict predatory or strict peer review process. No true editorial board, no editorial board. Any Tom, Dick, Harry will be the editorial board. They include the non subject specialist. Suppose if I belong to library information science, in the editorial bill, there will be a person with some other background like chemistry, some other background like arts and humanities. So that's how things are going on in predatory journal or predatory publisher, and are often found to publish mediocre or even worthless papers. You believe it or not, they publish substandard papers in respective disciplines. So this particular predatory concept is not only restricted to any subject or any topic for that matter, but it is everywhere you see. Not only developing countries, not only developed countries, but it is everywhere. So everybody is involving in predatory publishing. The last one is they also ask for huge publication charges. That is the main motto of these predatory journals. They publish the articles for, they exploit as far as and they charge the huge publication charges. That is author publications charges are being levied. Now, how are predatory journals different than open access journals? So open access journals may solicit authors to publish for a fee. Sometimes, not most of the time, sometimes most of the sometimes some of the open access journals, they publish for a fee. but maintaining with a high standard for peer review or editing process. For example, PLOS is there. So Public Library of Science, reputed publishers, that is the Sage, Nature, Wiley and Sons, Springer, EBSCO, or Emerald for that matter, they encourage open access journals where they do not even charge for author publication charges. The goal of open access publishing is to disseminate research to a larger audience by removing paywalls. So all these publishers, they want their publications to be available for the required persons, to be available for the deprived persons. So let me use deprived in the sense. So it is not possible for all the colleges or all the institutions to subscribe or to purchase all these paid uh, uh, information paid journals. So just to encourage open access, where there are many advantages of having open access journals or open access publications, which I just don't want to highlight here. Now there are three types of publications. One is commercial or paid journals, where you can expect very high quality peer review process, very high standards, double blind review, triple blind review, and then there is a strict editorial board is there, so which includes experts from various continents, experts from those who are really expert in that particular discipline. They are in the editorial board. So but as far as predatory journals are concerned, any Tom Dick Harry will, they include a person in editorial board. And in the next slides I'm just going to highlight or explain few more things on how the editorial board should be and other things. Now, open access journals can have impact factors and can create a citation advantage for others. See, I just told you about the different publishers. They are encouraging their publications to be available online with open access, so that even such publications or such journal publishers are also having high impact factor journals. It doesn't mean that all the open access journals levy charges or fee, but only few open access journals, they just publish for a fee, but maintaining high standards for peer review and editing process. So this is what the thing is, uh, open access journal. Now, Aswati Pasha so published an article in the Hindu on what is predatory journals. So she says that one of the characteristics of a predatory journal is that they may not have a sound peer review system. I repeatedly tell you that there is no sound peer review system as as we undertake in most of the highly standard paid or commercial journals. So sometimes peer review system is missing in predatory journals, but they claim that they have a strict peer review system or a strict peer review process. And worst, may not have an editorial board altogether. So editorial board is missing in a predatory journal as far as her view is concerned. Even if they indicate an editorial board, so it may not be a real one. See, sometimes what happens, you have to cross check as far as the authenticity, or you can say the institutional where these the members of the editorial board belong to. So sometimes they include somebody's name who is not responsible, who is not at all contributing in respective fields. So the names of the editorial board would be listed without the said academician consent. See, sometimes what happens, people will not take consent. So nobody knows in which journal I am the editorial, I am in the editorial board. So they never take a consent of the respective authors as far as the inclusion of inclusion in the editorial board. See, sometimes what happens, suppose if you want to include any person in your editorial board, a proper professional contact has to be make out, and then you have to take their permission to include their name. Unless you take the consent of the respective authors, it goes very difficult for you to include such names in the editorial board. So obviously the quality of such journals and the research published them will be questionable. And to make things worse, the journal publisher would ask for a fee to publish any research citing that they are open access. So a certain fee is collected from the authors as per as publication in the journals are concerned. So this particular slide will give you a clear idea about the differences between the credible journals, let me say credible journals, as well as the predatory journals. So in the credible journals, you will see a lot of hurdles. Sometimes it may take 2 years or 3 years, more than 2 or 3 years to publish your paper. So there is a strict review process that goes on. So credible, in a sense, you have to undergo a strict peer review process. And in as far as the predatory journals are concerned, so there is a red carpet that it will invite any Tom Dick Harry to publish his or her article here. So what is peer review actually? It's a peer review is the process of analyzing the quality of the research or article before it is published. Now in a typical Indian system, while see even we undertake a peer review process, you may or may not be knowing that we are conducting a peer review process for various activities in our day-to-day life. So let me use a few things where we can even go for peer review system. Peer review in the sense, before you buy or before you take it to home or before you publish it, so it is the process of analyzing the quality of that particular aspect. So, see, in a typical Indian system, while identifying bride or bridegroom, so I think those who are listening to this, those who have experienced this kind of things, so even while identifying the bride or bridegroom, so we conduct a lot of peer review process. Peer review in the sense, we take a kundali and we match it, and then we go to bride or bridegroom's home, and then there is a lot of rituals that goes on. It is nothing but a peer review in my opinion. Now as far as a vegetable, if you go to vegetable market, again you go for peer review process. Peer review in the sense, you rotate the vegetable into 360-degree for it, and see that for its quality as well as the color, is it not? So as far as finding out best schools for our children, even we undertake a peer review process. Now which school is the best one? What about the teachers who are teaching in that particular institution? What about the facilities given, other facilities, whether coaching classes are being conducted? So everything, every aspect we consider as per as peer review process. Now when we expect so many things, so quality aspect as far as the day-to-day activities in our life is concerned. But when it comes to publication, we blindly send our article to predatory journals. So when it comes to academics, we straight away depend on the predatory journals. So credible journals, there is a lot of peer review process. You have to make some revisions. You have to see, sometimes articles may be rejected if it is not having a quality aspect. Then as far as predatory journals are concerned, they won't see any quality. If you pay them the amount specified by them, then it will be published. They won't see even the spelling mistakes or grammar mistakes, and no editorial process is involved in this thing. Now, as far as what is predatory publishing in general, so predatory publisher is an opportunistic publishing venue that exploits the academic need to publish but offers little reward for those using their services. Then, what are the common characteristics of predatory publishing? Their primary goal is to make money. There will be fees. They do not care about the quality of the work published, or no or little editing or peer review process. So some of the things which I have brought out, or which I have come in with, are self-explanatory. They make false claims or promises, or that is claims of impact factors and indexing. See, they claim impact factors. Such academicians do not know that impact factor is, in order to calculate impact factor, you need 3 years data, and then impact factor is calculated using the Web of Science and Scopus database. But these predatory journals claim that they have an impact factor of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Sometimes it goes up to 20. They don't know what is the importance of impact factor, and publishing a journal article in a journal which is having impact factor of 20. It's not a joke. So they engage in unethical business practice. So it is purely a commercial way of exploiting the academicians, not as advertised, and they fail to follow accepted standards or best practices of scholarly uh, publishing. Now, how common are predatory journals? Let me give you some of the statistics where this will give you a clear-cut idea about where we are heading to, or so how common are these predatory journals. So before 2018, let me give you after 2013 and before 2018. There is a particular reason for that as far as these periods are concerned, and that immediately after this slide, I'm just going to tell you about this. Now, predatory journals have rapidly increased their publications volumes from 53,000 in 2010 to an estimated 4,20,000 articles in 2014, and published by around 8,000 active journals. If you uh, if you are thinking that it is only happening in India, you are wrong. There are developed countries where this predatory journal concept is lingering around. So early on, publishers with more than 100 journals dominated the market. That means those who are very good at, or those who are with credible journals. The reason, just now I told you that credible journals, or the journals, paid journals, or reputed publishers, they were dominating the market. But after 2012, publishers in the 10 to 99 journal size category have captured the largest market share, because people started publishing articles in predatory journals, so which used to affect the reputed publishers even. So there were only few articles submitted to reputed publishers like Williams and Springer, Nature, some academic, Oxford University Press and Nature, etc. But after 2012, publishers in the 10 to 99 journal size category have captured the largest market share. The regional distribution of both the publisher's country and authorship is highly skewed. That skewed in the sense make biased or distorted in a way that is regarded as inaccurate, unfair, or misleading. So authors used to pay an average fee of US dollar 178. So in Indian currency, it was and it is around 12,000. So each for article to be published rapidly without review, typically within 2 to 3 months of submission. Forget about 2 to 3 months of submission. Today you send an article, tomorrow there will be a mail, or that night only you will receive a mail asking for the publication fee. Once you pay the publication fees, the very next day or on the same day, your article will be published. So without going through a single word from your article, they publish as it is. So I have gone through many of the journal articles where in one sentence you see past tense, present tense, and future tense. So that is the pathetic situation, and there is no link from one sentence to another sentence. There is no link from one para to another para. Forget about the plagiarism. They won't check for even plagiarism. So as it is, once they receive the money, as it is, they publish the article. So authors paid, as reported in 2019, some 5% of Italian researchers have published in predatory journals, with a third of those journals engaging in fraudulent editorial practices. Now, the root of the problem, as far as India scenario is concerned, what is the root problem as far as India is concerned? Now, as on one as on June 1st, 2020, there were 945 universities in India. So out of that, 412 state universities, 124 deemed to be universities, then 53 central universities, then 356 private state universities were established as per as June 1st, 2020, as per as which is listed in the UGC website. So in 2010, the UGC began evaluating current and potential university faculty members by their publications. It was after 2010 because the annual rating, annual publication points. So based on that, UGC began evaluating current and potential university faculty members by their publications. So each and every publication used to get you more marks in respect to evaluation criteria. So it was in 2013. So it made mandated that UGC has made a mandated that a research scholar must publish two research articles to receive a PhD, a regulation that at present covers about 1,60,000 students. Can you imagine? So it was only after 2013 where we received, universities were received the guidelines from the UGC that it has made mandated that two publications in reputed publications or in publications are compulsory. So it made, so this particular point boosted many of the journals to go for charging, just to go for the charging of the fee for publishing the journal article. So there was a mushrooming growth of predatory journals after 2013, and you believe it or not, see, the apex body has made a mistake here by including all the journals which later become predatory. So when it was made a compulsory by the UGC, so all the predatory, in the sense, journals uh, transferred to, or journals converted into predatory, and then started exploiting the authors. Although well intended, this regulation encouraged corruption. So some of these started publishing even without ISSN number. The pathetic situation is, so even after that, they started publishing without ISSN number, and some people got recruited based on the journal article published in these predatory journals, since there was no mandatory earlier to this. So although well intended, this regulation encouraged corruption, and many thousands of students desperate for publication, along with ineffective monitoring. So there was no monitoring at all as far as the publications were concerned, and led to the mushrooming growth of these predatory publishing or predatory journals in particular. The rush by Indian researchers to publish is because only papers published in a UGC approved journal will be recognized at the time of recruitment and for granting points under academic performance indicators. That is the API system. To teachers in colleges and universities at the time of assessment for promotion. So at the beginning, an exhaustive list was released, including most of the predatory journals by the UGC. Then the inclusion of predatory journals in the approved list thus made a mockery of the entire exercise and gives the predatory journals the UGC stamp of authenticity. Stamp of authenticity in the sense which they profoundly flaunt on their website. So people or the journal publishers started providing information to the authors in their respective websites that the X journal or Y journal is recognized by the UGC care list or UGC list, UGC stamp of authenticity. Then along with constantly monitoring the white list, the UGC also set up the consortium for academic and research ethics, that is CARE, which is popularly known as CARE, in November 2018, and aimed at promoting academic integrity and research ethics. So in this regard, thanks to Bhushan Patwardhan, who is a biologist from Savitri Bai Phule Pune University, Pune, and chairman UGC CARE list, who came out with the revised list where the committee removed 90 to 95% of the predatory journals in respect to disciplines. So now one can expect that the journals which are included in UGC care list are of having a high quality journals. Now, what are the characteristics, that is complaints that are associated with predatory open access publishing include? What are the characteristics of predatory publishing or predatory journals? So accepting articles quickly with little or no peer review or quality control, as I told you. So today you just send an article, tomorrow you will pay, and day after tomorrow your article will be published. So that is very speed. Even sometimes on some occasions, 24 hours is enough for the publishers to publish your article. So once they receive the money, within no time it will be uploaded in their website in respective, and there is no control over the number of articles which is accepted in single issue, unlike in commercial journals, or some of the open access journals. Then notifying academics of article fees only after papers are accepted. See, they notify the academics of articles fees only after papers are accepted. Then they aggressively campaigning for academics to submit articles or to serve on editorial boards. So aggressively campaign. You believe it or not, every day I receive a mail, at least 3 to 4 mails I receive every day. Uh, in that, I receive the mails from non-library science. Since I belong to library science discipline, I receive non-library science subject. Let me not say that it is a science or arts and humanities. Any journal, a predatory journal who in different subject fields, they just contact you aggressively, and they campaign their publications. Then listing academics as members of editorial boards without their permission. So permission, see, I am in the editorial board of a few journals where they get consent from the respective author. They got consent from me that we just want to include it in your editorial board. So just contact if or tell me your consent. So that this is how you have to take a consent from the respective authors. So appointing fake academics to the editorial board, that is also there as far as the predatory journals are concerned. So appointing fake academics to editorial boards. They just give some XYZ name in their editorial board, and its only names will be there in the editorial board. No regular contact address, as it is always been done in most of the highly reputed journal publications. Now, mimicking the name or website style of more established journals. Most of the predatory journals, they mimic. It's a normally it's an act of copying the things. It's a act of copying the sounds or behavior, but here it is an act of copying the structure or the design of the website. So making misleading claims about the publishing operation, such as a false location. So you have to see for its location. So once you come across with any journal, predatory journals, try to locate it, where exactly it is publishing from. So which country it belongs to, or from which location they are operating. So everything you have to see for. Then using ISSN improperly. So just those who are listening to this presentation, if you are non-LIS professionals, so you can ask your librarian just to go through the ISSN number, whether the ISSN number given is proper or not. So citing fake or non-existent impact factors. So citing fake or non-existing impact factors, as I told you, in order to calculate the impact factor of the journals, you need a 3 years data. That is, you need a 3 years citation data, as well as 3 years uh, in the sense back issue, 3 years back citation data as well as publication data. And sometimes it is only JCR, Journal Citation Report, and site score, JCR from Web of Science and site score for Scopus database calculate impact factors. But as far as these fake or predatory journals are concerned, they give fake impact factor. They just give SCJ 6.827 impact factor. Nobody knows what that SCJ is or CIZ is. They just a three-letter abbreviation they use, and they say that it is impact factor 2.3. Friends, you believe it or not, I'm struggling to publish my articles in library science in the journal which is having impact factor 2. Forget about 5, 6, 7, 8. It is very high quality journal that you produce, but they claim that. See, even a pathetic situation, or even maybe it is because of the awareness, not aware, unaware of the academics, that today they start the publication, January they start the publication, and if it is quarterly publication, April month they will have impact factor, SGA impact factor, so and so. So this is what about, suppose if you have any problem, or if you are any doubts in understanding all these concepts, so try to contact your librarian or the experts who are experts in all these things. So boosting about being indexed by academic social networking sites like ResearchGate and the standard identifiers like ISSN and DOIs, as if they were prestigious or reputable bibliographic databases. So as far as the journal is concerned, these are necessary fields. So ISSN is necessary, then DOI is necessary. Nowadays it has become necessary. Then they claim that it is indexed in academic social networking sites like ResearchGate. People do not know what is a ResearchGate and how it works. Now it is nothing to do with the ResearchGate, and they start claiming that it is indexed in Google Scholar. See, even Google Scholar has its own limitations, is it not? So this is how the things are as far as the characteristics are concerned. Then why do academics publish in such journals? So in research environments, there is usually more value for quantity over quality. Now, to be frankly tell you that people nowadays, they just want quantity, not a quality. Hiring and promotion of academics is based largely on their number of publications. Now, an individual, or author, or a teacher, or a librarian is assessed most of the cases by the number of publications he has. There are many other criteria, but this is most important criteria which will fetch you a good number of marks. So predatory journals have helped many pseudo researchers to prosper. Pseudo researcher in the sense, the persons who are not genuine researchers or insincere persons. So pseudo researcher in the sense, insincere person or not genuine persons. Now, what is the harm then? Now, how predatory journals make harm as far as your academics are concerned? Now, predatory publishers do authors a disservice by claiming to be a full service publishers. See, disservice means a harmful action. So remember, as an author, you are providing a valuable product, and legitimate publishers provide valuable services. So legitimate in the sense, who are real or genuine publishers, like reputed publishers like Springer, Sage, Nature, Oxford University Press, the presses with chemistry and physics letters. There are number of Oxford University Press. There are number of EBSCO is there, Sage is there, Willey and Sons is there. There are number of reputed publishers. So they are called as legitimate publishers, where you can expect high quality journal articles in the respective subjects. So some of the dangers of publishing with a predatory publisher are outlined below. So what are the the dangers of publishing with a predatory publisher, so your work could disappear. So one of the advantages of publishing with a responsible publisher is that they make commitments to preserve your work. You believe it or not, the day when the particular legitimate publishers, let me say legitimate or the responsible publisher, is that uh, they make commitments to preserve your work. Preserve your work in the sense, right from the uh, first publication, first issue, they publish the papers, and those old issues are also being preserved in the different formats, like say PDF and other formats. So, but you won't see such preservation as far as predatory journals are concerned. So opportunists looking to make a quick buck, that is a easy, what I can say is a easily and quickly earned money, easily quick buck in the sense, easily and quick earned money. So which are not going to care if your paper is still available in 5 years, much less tomorrow. So in the sense, within no time, your article will disappear from the publisher's website. So your work will be hard to find. Some predatory publishers advertise that they are included in well-known databases like Web of Science or Scopus, but normally they won't, or when they are not. But while most predatory journals will probably be covered by Google Scholar, and people believe that if they have some citations in Google Scholar, they claim it as a Google Scholar. But let me tell you, my dear friends, suppose if you want to if you want to claim that you have so and so citations, and if your H index is so and so, provided you have to mention which source you are just claiming that. So suppose if it is from Google Scholar, you have to, into the bracket, you have to mention that as per as Google Scholar might citations, like that. So you have to mention. So suppose if it is, you are mentioning that you have 100 citations. So which is the source that you are claiming in? So you have to mention whether it is in Web of Science, or whether it is in the Scopus database, or whether it is in Google Scholar, or whether it is from Google Scholar. That you have to mention. So while most predatory journals will probably be covered by Google Scholar, and your work won't be visible if it's missing from other research databases. So you will always be taken into the substandard part of the publications. Suppose if you want to get recognition as far as the academics are concerned, so production of high quality journal article is the only way. So there is no alternative as far as the recognition is concerned. What is the harm caused by predatory journals? See, predatory and low quality journals corrupt the literature. No, definitely it will corrupt the literature, and people start reading the literature which is available. If a substandard literature is available in your respective subject, that we are just depending on the substandard literature. So when you are giving scope for substandard, then we see only substandard literature. So forget about the other subjects. What about medical science and some other science subjects, where you cannot think of even the producing a substandard journal or literature? So one has to contribute. So the literature, that has to be contributed to the literature, not adding to the literature. There is a lot of difference between adding to the literature and contributing to the literature. Contributing in the sense, some new facts are being introduced. You have to come out with some new facts, new figures, new results. So it has to bridge the gap between the previously available literature and your present your present paper. So peer review is at the heart of academic evaluation. Then publishing without peer review, so while pretending the peer review process, they always claim that they have a strict peer review process, but it is not always. So gives poor and mediocre academics a chance for jobs and promotions. Now, as far as medical science is concerned, now if you publish only substandard journals or articles, you will see only substandard articles. You won't see the high quality work from the experts, and people start taking it as a negative thing. So when 80 90% of the substandard material is available, or information material is available, and people start talking about that other 10% highly qualitative is nonsense. So that is, it is always sociological 80-20 rule. So gives a poor and mediocre academics a chance for jobs and promotions which should not go. Better qualified researcher says that Sunil Mukhi, JC Bose Fellow and Chair, Physics Program, ISER, Pune. Now Ericsson and Helgesen's 25 different criteria. So in 2016, see whatever the 25 criteria that Predatory journal is going through. So these are self-explanatory. I need not explain one by one. So in 2016, researchers Stefan Eriksson and Gert Helgesen identified 25 signs of predatory publishing. So they warn that a journal will not necessarily be predatory if they meet one of the criteria, and but the more points on the list that apply to the journal at hand, and the more skeptical uh, that you should be. So skeptical in the sense not easily convinced, that is having doubts. So the publisher is not a, let me say one by one, the publisher is not a member of any recognized professional organization committed to best publishing practices. Like now, suppose if you want, if you come to know that the certain journal is a predatory one, so just go through the some of the organization or committees, like a COPE, that is Committee on Publication Ethics, that is DOAJ is there, Director of Open Access Journal is there, OASPA is there, that is Open Access Scholarly Publishers Association, that is STM is there, International Association in Science, Technology and Medicine is there. Then one more is EASE is there, EASE, that is European Association of Science Editors is there. So just you go through whether that the journal is listed in such committees or organizations or not. The journal is not indexed in well-established electronic database like Medline or Web of Science or Scopus. The publisher claims to be leading publisher even though it just got started. As I told you that in the first January 2020 issue will come out, or in the March issue will come out, and the next issue they claim that so they claim that they are leading publisher. So it will take a lot of time for the, even in the publishing industry. Suppose if you want to get a name and fame in the publishing industry, or if you want to claim yourself as a leading publisher in the industry, so you need to do a lot of exercises, and uh, the reputation comes over a period of time, not in a year or so. So the journal and the publisher are unfamiliar to you and all your colleagues. So suppose if you have any doubts as far as the journal is concerned, ask your seniors, ask your colleagues about the familiarity of that particular publisher or the journal publisher. Then the papers of the journal are of poor research quality and may not be academic at all. There are fundamental errors in the titles and abstract. See, the surprising thing is even they won't see the title as well. I have seen many of the titles. I have seen many of the spelling mistakes in the title itself, as far as predatory journals are concerned. Then typographical and factual errors throughout the published errors. That's what I told you. In one sentence, you see past tense, present tense, and future tense. But that should not be the case as far as using of tenses even in sentences is concerned. The journal website is not professional. Either they copy it, or just for the namesake they just use some ready templates which are available free of cost. The journal website does not present an editorial board or gives insufficient detail or names of the editorials. See, insufficient detail in the sense they won't give you the email address, they won't give you their location, they won't give you the permanent address. Suppose if I'm the member. So my details will be there, that assistant professor, Department of Library Information Science, Karnataka University, Dharwad. Even it includes a pin code. Those who are those who know that I am the managing editor of Journal of Indian Library Association, you just go through that. You will see a full detailed address of editorial boards, editorial board members. So including email IDs. So that should be the case of a leading publisher or leading journals. The journal website does not present an editorial board or gives insufficient details, and the journal website does not reveal the journal's editorial office. Sometimes what happens, they won't provide you the editorial office, journal's editorial office. There won't be any contact us menu as far as journal is concerned, and location or users in incorrect address. Some of the reputed publishers, even they give you the maps, Google Maps also, just to share their location. Now the publishing schedule is not clearly stated. Now the periodicity is not actually stated. So as and when the authors send their article, when they pay their money, and then article will be published. So there is no restriction even as far as the number of articles to be published in a single issue. And the journal title claims a national affiliation that does not match its location, such as the American Journal of so and so, while being located on another continent. Suppose if I say that International Journal of some XYZ, or International Journal of Library and Information Science from India, but the location will be different in their respective websites. So for the namesake, the circulation, as far as the circulation is concerned, the journal circulation is only restricted to a taluk or a district, but they claim that it is international. Even people do not know what is the difference between the local journal and a national journal and an international journal or a state level journal. So based on the circulation, there are again many criteria that we are using to differentiate between national level journal or international, really international, not the terms which is used in the title itself. And the journal mimics another journal title or the website of said journal. And sometimes people copy using their names, and just they change some words or one word from the uh, from the title of the journal, and then the website is also one and the same. The journal claims an unrealistically high impact based on spurious alternative impact factors. As I told you, they say that they use some abbreviations, three letter abbreviations, and they claim that they have an impact factor of so and so. But literally, nobody knows that how impact factor is calculated. And the journal website posts non-related or non-academic advertisement. One thing you just remember, suppose if it is a genuine publisher, they won't advertise too much. And if they advertise, if it is related to their publication or their sub disciplines, their institution or their organization. But there are so that is how you have to be very careful as far as advertisements in websites are concerned. The publisher of the journal has released an overwhelmingly large suite of new journals at one occasion or during a very short period of time. Overwhelming large suite of new journals. So in the sense, suppose if I am the author, today I will open one, today I will start one journal, tomorrow I will start another journal, third day, the third journal. Within a span of short time, I will just go on publish or go on introducing or launching new journals in respective fields. And I will be the chief editor for all these irrespective of subjects journals. So that is actually wrong as far as the genuinity of the claim is concerned. The editor in chief of the journal is editor in chief of for other journals with widely different focus. That's what I told you. Suppose if I am a chief editor in my discipline, it's well and good. Suppose if I am the chief editor of some science journal, then people will laugh at that particular journal. The journal includes articles outside its stated scope. See, almost all the journals, they restrict their coverage, they restrict their scope, or they define their scope. So within which scope they just want to include the papers or publish their papers. But predatory journals, they won't have any such stated scope. Even if it is library science, they even include economics related, they even include the other than library science. If it is a social science, they even include that. So the journal sends you an unsolicited invitation to submit an article for publication. Suppose if your discipline is X and some Y publisher will contact you, that is unsolicited solicited invitation. So emails from the journal editor are written in poor language. One could see that the poor language is used, and sometimes they use or they hire a professional just to mesmerize the people or academics. And the journal charges a submission or handling fee instead of a publication fee, so which means that you have to pay even if the paper is not accepted for publication. Sometimes what happens, before they accept it, only you have to pay the amount. That is also another thing, they are just exploiting this. At the time of submission of your article only, they want amount to be paid in respective accounts. So that is a very pathetic situation again, as far as the predatory journals are concerned. Now let me tell you about the 6 ways to spot a predatory journal. Do one thing. Suppose if you have a doubt as far as the journal genuinity is concerned, now there are 6 ways to spot a predatory journal. One is always check the websites thoroughly. Now, often a tell-tale sign of a predatory journal is the mistakes in both spelling and grammar on their website. If it is, what is a spelling mistake and grammar mistake done, but sometimes some typographical mistakes, very few, one or two typographical mistakes you find. But if there are more than that, then you can check about its authenticity, check about its thoroughly. Then poor usage of language shows a low professional standard. That means they are not professionals. The journal's fees should be clearly stated on the website. Suppose if they want to charge for the publication fee, publication, so it has to be stated in that particular website that these many dollars are being charged for publication of respective articles. So should only be requested from the author after the article has been accepted for publication. It is only accepted when article is accepted for publication, when they communicate to the particular author, then only a publication fee has to be remitted. If a journal requests a submission fee before the article is accepted, then this may be a predatory journals, because nobody knows as far as the authenticity of that particular journal is concerned. Then check if the journal is a member of DOAJ, COPE, OASPA, or STM. As I told you, you have to check for the different committees or commissions or organizations like a COPE, that is Committee on Publication Ethics. Then DOAJ is there, Directory of Open Access Journals. OASPA is there, Open Access Scholarly Publishers Association. EASE, that is European Association of Science Editors. Then STM, that is International Association of Scientific, Technical, and Medical Publishers. Just go through. Suppose if they are members of these committees or organizations, uh, we can believe that their authenticity and their existence or their high profile in these particular committees or organizations. Now, the third way is to check the journal's contact information. So it is important to ensure there is a verifiable contact information that matches the advertised nationality of the journal. So always you just check the contact information given in that particular journal. And often predatory journals state that their offices are in one country, whereas the contact details will be in another country. So that you have to see for its office location, as well as from where it is operating, where the journal is operating. See, sometimes what happens, some person is sitting in elsewhere in the corner of some Madras or some any other city, not only Madras, any corner of India, and they claim that it is International Journal of so and so subject. So subject field, and they claim that see, South African Journal of so and so. So sitting here in India, and you are claiming that it is South African Journal. So that should not be the case. And where the contact details will be, you have to check. Then check that the timestamps of incoming emails are during working hours of the country. So in India, the working hours will be always, say, roughly 9 a.m. To 6. Let it be 6. So the working hours will be always between 9 and 6 p.m. As far as India is concerned. But just to check, suppose if you receive X mail from X person, now just identify or just cross check actually X person, where actually in which country he belongs to, or the journal, from which country the journal is or launched or published. So you just cross check it, and then identify the country from where they are operating, and then check for their working hours. So suppose if you receive mails in their country working hours, that means they are professionals. Suppose if in India, let me take India as an example. Suppose if in India, if you are if you are having predatory journal, and if you are sending mails late night, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, midnight, then that is a clearly indication of a predatory journal. No, as far as research, the fourth point is research the editorial board. Often, predatory journals will create a fake scholars, or they will list scholars without their permission. Now, fake scholars, in the sense, always check for the credibility of the authors, whether the X person, Y person, Z persons are really working in the discipline mentioned there. Suppose my discipline is library science, nobody knows. See, I may be a member in editorial board in science discipline, so nobody knows that, and nobody has taken a consent. If it is the case, I would have not given him the consent, because I belong to library science, so my discipline is library and information science. So always check for their permission, check for their credibility, as well as their their country, as well as their disciplines where they are working, and list without their permission. So they list out the authors without the permission of the genuine authors. One way to know for sure is to check the professional online profiles. Now you check for, now there are plenty of means of communication, plenty of means of access, tools we have to check whether the X, Y, Z persons are really working in disciplines that is mentioned in the journal publication. If there is no mention of the journal, then proceed with the caution. Now the fifth point is take a look at their peer review process, that is under publication timelines. So predatory journals tend to miss the peer review process out completely. They never go for a peer review process as far as the journal's publications are concerned. So if the journal advertises exceptionally quick peer review timelines, you believe it or not, I will tell you my own example. See, I'm the managing editor of one of the journals in library science. Uh, it takes a bit of time to review, because at least 6 months is required rigorously. Suppose if you want to rigorously review the papers, articles published, article you want to publish in a journal, minimum 6 months is necessary, and it depends on the flow of the articles for your respective journals. If the flow of the articles, that means if you are receiving so many articles from authors, then you have to start the rigorous process. Sometimes it may take 1 year or 2 years. You believe it or not, in one of the journals, it took nearly 2 years. And let me not take the name of the journal, where even I submitted, still I remember that 8th August 2018, I submitted a paper, still it is not published and still it is under review process. So that is what the rigorous process that takes. See, it all depends on the number of publications that comes into that particular journal. Sometimes they review within no time. I myself review the article, and I won't take much of the time in order to review, because I am the reviewer of six journals. So whenever I receive an article from the editor of a respective journal, within no time I will review and I will send it, because review process is a complementary. It is not a compulsory. It is a complementary, and it is a work. One has to do a work. So free of cost. That let me say it frankly, free of cost. You have to, because you have to invest your energy. You have to invest your time. So you have to take out the time. So this is how happens as far as the predatory review process is concerned. Then investigate them further and ensure they state online their peer review policy is full. Then sixth one is read through past issues of the journal. That many predatory journals will publish any and all articles that are submitted to them. So read through past issues of the journal. You just go through the previously published articles, so that we can easily come to know that whether this is a predatory at first hand or not. Suppose if you see there is a typographical mistakes or mistakes you see in a title, abstract, and keywords and other sections of the article, then you will come to know that whether it is having quality or not, whether they are publishing a standard or high quality article or a substandard article. So if you find articles with many mistakes, this could show their poor peer review process. So also, if past issues are missing or listed as coming soon, so this could be a strong sign that the journal is not legitimate. Uh, Last but not the least, this is uh, a website where you see, that is Jeffrey Beal has given you a list of predatory journals and publishers, and it is time to time he revises the predatory journals. You just visit this particular website which is shown in this particular slide, so that you can cross check whether the article which you want to submit it to a particular journal is listed in predatory journals or not. Now, to be frankly tell you, now UGC under the leadership of Bhushan Patwardhan is revising every now and then. It is revising the UGC care list, even though see, even though the publications are of having some standard also, they are just removing, and every now and then the list is updating, revising. So this is what, just to cross check or just to know whether the article or the journal in which you want to publish an article, it includes the predatory journal or not. So this is the list. You just go through it, and then you will come to know that. So lastly, I thank the organizers for giving me an opportunity to express my views on predatory journals and predatory publishers. Thank you one and all. Jai Hind.